What up guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about one of the most important movies that I watched this year, which is All Quiet on the Western Front. As somebody whom I'm not really a fan of war movies because I come from Zimbabwe, so we really didn't get to experience a lot of war movies. We really didn't get to I don't really get to connect with things like the First World War. I don't really get to connect with things like the Second World War because they really didn't affect me in a way that I feel the Western communities have been affected by World War, whereby in your families you have war veterans, you have his history that you grow up with, to whereby these things fascinate you. For me, they don't. Like when I watched 1917, I watch it as a spectacle and being like, oh, this is a great movie to watch, but I don't really connect with it because I just see a lot of violence on screen where I'm like, this really was not necessary. So when I was watching All Quiet on the Western Front, what I really liked about the movie was how we get to connect with the characters and how we get to live with the characters and how we get to see their journeys as they come in as young recruits, as young teenagers who just want to fight for their countries, who just wants to represent and do this thing, where it's like, oh, this makes me feel cool. And you see their innocence in accepting these things. And for me, as someone who's grown in a country whereby politics plays a major role, I was like, man, it feels sad watching these young men sign up for these things because you're signing up for something, for a cause that you believe in, but at the end of the day, the cause is not really real because the only people who benefit from these wars, who benefit from any of these things, are people who are in power and not necessarily just the normal everyday guy. And here you are going to fight a war against someone who's just like you, who believes in a cause that really is not a cause, right? You're going to war with another similar teenager, and we get to watch this. I don't know if you remember, there's a part whereby they're in a ditch, right? And him, like one of the main characters, and another guy, a soldier, they're stuck within this ditch, and he kills this guy, and he starts to feel remorse for killing this guy, and you realize how young they are, and you're like, whoa. Or even in his final death scene, like the main character's final death scene, you see him trying to save a kid, and then he saves the kid, he goes into war with the French guy, and they're like, fuck, man, he gets stabbed from the back. And that's before, like a minute before the war ended. And you're like, why? Why was that last battle sanctioned? Why did this have to happen? Why did that, like, we lost almost 6 million people that day? And you're like, why do these things happen? And I think the movie highlights that. It makes us question war, and it's an anti-war story, which is something that I stand on. I don't believe in wars, but I do understand why they occur. But it's like, it's just unfortunate that that's just how we live as humans, and that's like, we need distraction for some reason. When you're looking at that movie, you're like, wow, what a story, what a picture, amazing storylines. We connect with the different characters. When you're looking at Paul, when we follow Paul's story from when he's recruited and how innocent he looks, and then how he becomes a killer, and you're like hoping that he succeeds. The sad part for me is I didn't read the books and I wasn't really sure. I thought at least one of the main soldiers would survive, but they all die, and they all die heartbreaking deaths. Like when you look at the death of Stanislaus, whereby, we fell in love with him, how they would go and steal the goose from the farmer. You're like, one more time, and you're like, yeah, it's, of course, they're stealing from this poor farmer. Like, it's a terrible crime that they're committing, and they shouldn't be doing it. But you also see the joy in that for them, and you also have this understanding of why they're doing what they're doing, and you're hoping the farmer doesn't catch him. And you're hoping that he gets to go back to his wife. The man couldn't read. The man was there for his team, and you're like, yeah. And then they just kill him like that. And that pain that you feel, like, I feel this movie really makes you connect with soldiers. It makes you connect with people. You get to see the people in war, as a human. You just get to connect with the human beings, your fellow human beings. But it pains you to understand that they had to suffer like this, and this is what they had to go through. In conclusion, like, I encourage you to watch it. If you're somebody who likes cinema and you want to see some crazy cinematography, this movie for me is epic. It's a phenomenal watch. There's a great character arc. The story moves forward. The pacing is just right. It's just the perfect movie, I feel. For me, when I was watching the Oscars, this is a movie that I would have given the Oscar to, but I don't really get to decide who wins the Oscar because I just felt like in terms of story, there's a lot of depth to it, and there was a lot of emotional connection that I felt watching this movie. I'll be doing my review on Everything Everywhere All at Once soon. I think that was a phenomenal movie as well. So we're doing our Oscar run now. I know the Oscars are done, but yeah, let me know in the comment section which other movies you guys would like me to check out. And I'll definitely be seeing you in the next one.